Welcome to True Jamaica Buzz News and Entertainment with a Buzz. One of the most disturbing stories that we've seen in a very long time in our country that is filled with a whole bunch of disturbing stories is an incident that took place in a place known as Swamp District that is in St. Anne, where it is said that confirmed a father is in the custody of the police after doing a very despicable act, as in attacking his own children in the comfort of their home in their crib. I am speaking about 1-year-old Amir Saunders, the father of that son. And then there's a 3-year-old Shamir Henry, not the father of that son, however, two brothers for the same mother. So, based on the information, it is said that the mother and father of those two children were home. They were sipping on ganja tea. While they were sipping on ganja tea, it seems as if it had an adverse effect on the father, causing him to flip his lid. It is said that there was some sorts of argument. The argument went from verbal to physical. That was when the father drafted some sorts of scissors and commenced to juking up the two little picnic while they were in the house, while they were in the crib. The mother claimed that she ran from the scene of the crime after she realized that the father was acting very boisterous and violent. She ran to the police station, made a report. It is said that when the police came on the scene of the crime, started to do a search of the house, they did not find the two bodies. However, the bodies were later located at the back of the house. I want you to take a look at exactly what the police has to say, and then some residents, neighbors that live nearby of that house in which the incident took place, and then I'll give my piece.
Police say the kid's mother made a report about their father just before 8 p.m. And when the police arrived at the house,
they would have observed blood in a room, and they observed a young man who was later identified as an male who it is alleged would have stabbed two minors, a 1-year-old child, male child by the name of Amir Saunders, and a 3-year-old male child by the name of Shamir Henry. As we believe that the couple had an argument and it would have resulted in what transpired here. The report was made by the female that when she was fleeing from the scene, he was stabbing the children with scissors.
In love him baby them. What day? He baby birthday. He keep up on big birthday for baby. He birthday. Every baby I got a clinic in go. Anywhere at all. A baby I go in go with him. Did it with the mother.
He's a nice young man that I even gave a recommendation for a job at the hotel, and he's doing very well. So something went wrong. I don't know what is this, but the community is in awe at this happening.
He need a smoke cigarette, tobacco, nothing. He no smoke from him go one quiet like a pitney. So it surprised me now. If you come and here say find ganja tea. And drink ganja tea.
Now, people, when we listen to these police, I know that this must be one of the most stressful jobs in Jamaica, especially police, whether it is father, mother, woman, or man, that went on the scene of the crime, being that they are probably parents too, and see the gruesome body of these two little pitney, 1-year-old and 3-year-old, with all sorts of wounds to their body, stiff stone cold in some bushes at the back of the house. Just imagine the emotional trauma, what is even worse. Just imagine the emotional trauma that the mother went through, being at the scene of the crime and could not help. Neither of these child could not help herself. Now, people, just to be fair, you don't know what you would do when the situation comes upon you. You don't know how you would react. So maybe when this mother saw what was going on, she thought to herself, it is best if she run for help because she would have been overpowered by this man that has more than likely stronger natural strength. So she went to the police station. The police came to the house. And when the police came, they saw the gruesome discovery in the back of the yard. Now, people, based on what they say, the mother and the father were drinking ganja tea. Somebody in the comment section let me know. Is it the same weed that you smoke? Is it the same weed that you use to draw ganja tea? Because as far as I know, we have a couple of weed tea that people drink. One of them is Mojo Herb. Don't know. Remember, I am not an expert on weed. But me just say, it is very unusual, and I am not saying that there are not incidents in which people drink some sorts of ganja tea and then there's an adverse effect. The body can't manage it. However, for the most part, people in Jamaica have been drinking ganja tea for a couple of decades, and we've never really heard about incidents like this. And I am not saying that person have never flipped their lid and go cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, but me just say. So based on what the neighbors are saying, this man is a good man, hardworking man, don't smoke, don't drink, record clean like Jesus, police record, but something went woefully wrong. Him flip him lid and he went haywire. Him start to juke up these little picnic that were his own. So based on the police reports, it is said that it was some sorts of influence induced by ganja tea. Now people like me say, I would like to see the police report. I'd like to see the autopsy. I would like to see some sorts of tests as to if it caused some sorts of chemical imbalance in his head. Whatever the case is, this father more than likely is going to be charged for the takeaway of his children. Unless, of course, there's some sorts of psychological evaluation that says that him kind of flip him lid under the influence. However, whenever you are a father and person over 18-year-old, you're always responsible for your act, especially if your act leads to you taking away two little children, 1 and 3-year-old. Now, people, as bad as stuff is, as despicable and gruesome as this is, just imagine the father that took away his own child. But just imagine the father whose child also lost his life at the hands of a next man. How is he going to feel? How is he going to actually handle that? Just imagine how the mother is going to feel, how her conscience is going to play on her, the fact that she ran away, leave her little children in the hands of this wicked man, this father. People like me say, this is very disturbing, point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is an update giving you details as to the motive of an incident that took place at a place that is called Bonito's Auto Sale that is in Tollgate. Tollgate is in Clarendon, where the police and the JDF were called in to assess and see what was going on at an incident in which an explosive device that was brought to the premises of this auto sales place by an ex-JDF soldier, they had to detonate it to make sure that the public was safe. Needless to say, when the JCF officers special division flown in from the JDF went on the scene of the crime and detonated that bomb, people are run for their life. Based on the information, it is said that an ex-soldier went to the establishment. There was a verbal altercation in which the ex-soldier was saying that he was going to bomb up the place. I am going to give you the details. I am not going to say that his way of getting justice was right, but I am going to show you or let you know the reason. So he went to the place. There was an argument between himself and the owner of the establishment. Owner's picture on the screen as I speak. His name is Leroy Williams. I am going to give you the history of Mr. Leroy Williams. The man bought a transmission from the place. Leroy Williams sold him that transmission, a transmission for a truck. He took it to the mechanic. It did not work. He came back, told the owner, Mr. Williams, that it does not work. Mr. Williams gave him a next one. That next one did not work either because they were the wrong transmission. Mr. Williams did not want to refund the man his money, so he gave him a second wrong transmission. The man came back and threatened him. As a matter of fact, that ex-JDF soldier is said, we'll have him license fire piece by Mr. Williams and threatened that, listen, if me not get back my money for the transmission, I am going to blow up the place. He kept his word and he went back at the establishment. While he was there arguing, it is said that the owner, Mr. Williams, then slipped through the back door, come round and blaze up caught the JDF, ex-JDF soldier off guard and blazed up some can in his foot. He was shot in the foot. The police was called. That man was taken to the hospital. The bomb was detonated, rated, the whole 9 yards. Now, people, based on information from persons that I know that know this man, which is, well, not coincidental, is that this man, Jamaican, lives in Canada. However, he is a criminal element. The crimes in which he commits is stealing vehicles from Canada, chopping them up, cutting them up, and sending them back to Jamaica to sell on the market as if they are legitimately bought parts. Bad enough, he steals vehicle. 90% based on information that I am getting of the vehicle parts that are there are stolen from Canada, sent back in a Jamaica in a box or barrel or wherever or however he sends them back. So based on the information that I am getting on this individual, Mr. Leroy Williams, he loves money, but he does not like to return money. Even when he is wrong, he is going to be wrong and strong. And he will use corrupt members of the JCF to make sure that you don't get back your money. And if you want to flip up and try to defend your money, you might also get a royal clothing from the police. Now, people, there are a couple of persons, numbers that I got with persons that have contacted me and have verified and validated the information that, yes, they were victims. However, they don't want their audio to go out there. They are now glad to see that this man is being exposed by my channel. This man is being exposed to the Canadian government, the relevant authority in Canada, for all of the stolen vehicles that he's taking from Canada, shipping them to Jamaica and selling them as if they are legitimate legal parts. It is said that there was also a woman that was an investor in the business. He promised her, yes, you're going to have a certain stake in the business, and even promised to give her a vehicle. However, none of that is forthcoming. There are also persons that used to work for him, persons that were also his friends. He no longer has those friends. He no longer has those employees. So pretty much he is doing everything by himself because he is a selfish piece of ish. So when you see the soldier man come and bought this transmission for a big amount of money, returned it, got the wrong thing once again, went to the mechanic, tried to fit it up, the same old problem, came back to get his refund, he might hear a whole bunch of lippings. So people, I say this to say this. Sometimes you see stuff in the news and you wonder to yourself, then hold on a minute, this is a bit extreme. That a JDF soldier, a man that's supposed to be disciplined, would actually go to a business establishment with some sort of explosive device. That they had to call the bomb squad from the JDF. That they had to call the police. Wherein he was shot in the foot by the owner of the establishment that was acting as if this man was just a boisterous customer, only to find out that this is this man's way of doing business. That is his MO. Take people money, sell them all sorts of puss in a bag, things that don't work, and whenever you come to get a refund, you either get some lippings, you either get some shot, or you either escorted off the premises by the police who are corrupt. Those police is no longer around him. Based on the information, it is said that when the ex-JDF soldier went to the premises, the one police that he had that did not know him left and went somewhere. That is how the argument started between himself and the JDF officer, because the JDF officer told him that he was going to blow up the place, and the man came and was about to keep his word. However, like I said, the man, meaning the owner, Leroy Williams, acted as if he is a victim, call the police, call the JDF, rate, and that was what took place. Point blank and period.
So far, everyone, you can like carrying wood up so estamos so. security having gun. Good use. Was the only thing that happened.
So the next thing that is popping in the news based off the video that you just watched is of an attempted robbery that took place at Granville gas station that is in Montego Bay. What you saw is a security guard. He went outside. There was a conversation with some people. Apparently, he did not realize that these persons had rolled up on the premises to rob the place. However, soon after realizing that these were some criminal elements, he decided that he was going to defend his job, defend his life. That was when he tried to lock the door. However, you could see the men on the opposite side of the door trying to force their way in. However, the security guard wheel and pop off him tool and blaze up a couple of cans at them. Hopefully they got hit based on the information that I got so far. Nobody was hurt, nobody was injured, nobody was taken to the Popo station, nobody was taken to the hospital. Hopefully these youths will learn their lesson. Hopefully this security guard will secure himself and know that these criminal elements will come back and try again, try to take away his gun and even try to take away his life. Because these persons are barefaced, these persons, they are desperate, these persons don't care about their life, much less your life. So people may just say, you sleep and mark death. If you're a security guard, if you're a business owner anywhere in Jamaica, it is like duck season, hunting season, open season for criminals. Point blank and period. So the next thing that is popping in the news is a bit of controversy as it pertains to the debate between the JLP and the PNP. We know that we are in high election season right now, and there were a couple of plans debate that were held on the national TV, TVJ, CVM, and the rest. However, there was an obvious absence of sign language interpreter. There is one specific lady that have a mohawk that everybody is used to be seeing whenever we are watching any sorts of sign language interpreter on the news or wherever. It seems as if the negotiation did not go as well as they had anticipated. And they decided that they were now no longer going to use her, or she decided that she was not going to be lowball. Whatever the circumstances are, they could not negotiate. They could not come to any sorts of amicable agreements. The debate was held without controversy, with a whole bunch of controversy, in which persons were saying that, hold on a minute, what about the persons that are hearing impaired? What about the dumb? What about the deaf? Meaning, dumb as people that can't talk and deaf as people can't hear. Don't mean for fool. So this is what she had to say. I want you to take a look to the edited version of her explaining the situation and circumstances as to why her services were not used at one of those debates. And then I'll give my piece.
It's not a discussion or something up for debate. It's really factual. I don't need to tell you. Deaf community can tell you. Them know, say, years me I do this. Yeah? Fast forward, we're not going to talk about the details. The JDC told both the Jamaica Association for the Deaf and Ready to Sign that they're not under any circumstance going to work with Tony Akins. Fine, no problem. The reality is, when it comes to political debates, I'm the only one qualified. There is nobody in Jamaica that can manage. When it comes to policies and programs, you have to be able to explain that in a split second. You don't have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, a few seconds to explain what GP is, what solidarity is, what social pension is. You have to explain all those in few seconds. Other interpreters don't have that knowledge. I'm the only one who has that. A long story short, to cut it, I really don't know what's the situation. I just know that both organizations, JAD, Jamaica Association for the Deaf, are ready to sign, told him, hey, Tony has to do it. I was told that I have to be in the background and I have to be feeding signs and I have to share the knowledge that I have without a spotlight. No, with proper advice legally, I was told no, you can't do that. That's an insult to you and your career. And not only legally, but knowledgeable people from different social aspects of life said, no, Tony, that's a disrespect. And honestly, most times I would have sacrificed self over service, but this time I chose interpreters. This has nothing to do with backup interpreters. This has to do with a choice and a personal decision that the Jamaica Debates Commission made. They decided that they don't want to work with me for reasons that they can't say. And they've been telling other people all kind of things, say me rude and me what. Me say, how me rude? Because the only thing I did was stand for the rights of my community, my deaf community. And I won't change that. You hearing anybody else in the world, I won't change the fact that I grew up in the 90s and I saw the struggles. I have to stand for the rights of deaf people. I have to. So my point is, it's not about not available. It's not about not being able to provide access. It's about being blacklisted. That's really what's happening here. I'm being blacklisted. And
so people, like I said, that is the edited version. She's giving a gist as to why they could not come to some sort of negotiation and why she was not used, seeming as if they are trying to blacklist her. Well, people, it seems as if they got somebody else like they had promised. However, things did not go according to plan. I want you to take a listen, take a look to the relevant authority, to what the relevant authority had to say, as it pertains to somebody else that was used that was a bit or less, way less experienced, because this lady has been doing it for about 20 years or so, meaning 2 decades. Take a listen, take a look, and then I'll give my piece.
There was definitely an issue, and it became a lot more evident as persons who was, as they were saying online, with no knowledge of sign language, they're seeing where the interpreter was just not able to keep up. Respectfully, you are in a situation where you're trying to condense a very heavy response in 2 minutes, and ensuring that the community is not disadvantaged in getting that information. And it is quite a bit of information coming at an interpreter very quickly, and you don't want to misrepresent what's being said in the same way that, verbally you wouldn't want to misrepresent what is being said by any individual presenting themselves in a debate. A lot of the interpreting skill is something that's harnessed over time. It's something that you don't necessarily get in certain spaces unless you have that experience in those spaces. And particularly when it comes on to certain jargon, developments and political jargon, and the way that even in politics certain things are said, but a hearing person knows that in jest or it implies a particular thing, you have to ensure that that is expressed very clearly for the community. And that, I think, is where the challenge really was.
Now, people, like them say, sometimes you get what you pay for. And sometimes some of these persons that are negotiators always try to lowball other persons' services. Don't know if there was some sort of disagreement, they just could not get along. This lady was feisty. However, whenever you have an expert, especially when it is election and everything is riding on it, you want to make sure that you have the best purse that money can buy. And like I said, something that is cheap sometimes is not good, and something that is good is not cheap. So therefore, if the lady wants X amount of money, then you should pay. Whenever you go and you try to lowball people or get somebody that is less experienced for a cheaper price, that is exactly what happened, based on what you hear the people them say. So people, like I've always said, you cannot be penny wise and pound foolish. You cannot make because of money, meaning petty money. You did not get the services or render the services of the best person out there. Instead, because of ego or because you want to show and prove, you got somebody that was way, way cheaper, that was way, way worse. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. Bless up.